So he actually does not do this. He's ready. And where's your office? Well, say tonight. Do you like that? Yeah.
All right, we should be ready, set to go. Start in 2 minutes. Just want to make sure everybody's good. Audio's good. Everybody can hear me. There's not a major echo. A little better? Okay. Because I still have IT here. They can tone it down a little bit if we need to. All right. Everybody get you kind of a go-by. If not, they're up here on the shelf as well. Kind of let you know how the press conference is going to go according to this itinerary. And then we'll have 3 agency representatives speak. They're in red font. And then afterwards, I'll have a little bit of follow-up questions. And then from there, on the one-on-one interviews, at the conclusion of the press conference, it will only be me.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, good deal. All right, we'll come in here in about 2 minutes and we'll start. Thank you. White trips. All right. Guess we'll start the press conference here. Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Fila. It is spelled Brandon, last name Fila. That's F as in Frank, I-L-L-A. I'm a Deputy U.S. Marshal and Public Affairs Officer in the Austin Division. First, I want to lay out the itinerary for the conference. I will go in and introduce our representatives, our guests from other agencies. I will give you the summary of events during the fugitive investigation of Kaitlin Armstrong, followed by our representatives giving comments. And then I'll take a few questions at the end. At the end, the press conference will be concluded, and I'll be available for one-on-one interviews following the conclusion of the press conference. First, I would like to begin by thanking you for your attendance and the coverage from all our media partners that assisted with this investigation by broadcasting Kaitlin Armstrong, who was wanted for the murder of Anna Mariah Wilson, aka Mo, that occurred May 11th in the 1700 block of Maple Avenue. I'm here to announce that Kaitlin Armstrong was captured on June 29th by foreign officials in the Republic of Costa Rica, where she was detained on an immigration violation and deported back to the United States on July 2nd. On July 5th, the Austin Police Department extradited Armstrong from the Harris County Jail in Houston, Texas, to the Travis County Jail here in Austin, Texas, following a 43-day fugitive investigation. I would like to introduce our agency representatives that are standing in attendance with me today that assisted in this fugitive investigation that are located here in the Austin Division. First of all, United States Marshal Service, Lone Star Fugitive Task Force Supervisory Deputy Christopher Rhodes, Deputy United States Marshal Emir Perez, and with the Austin Police Department, Assistant Chief Investigations Bureau Jerry Balzon, Austin Police Department Lieutenant Investigations Bureau Lieutenant Shane Streepy, and the Austin Police Department Homicide Detective Richard Spidler, Austin Police Department Tactical Intelligence Officer, or Tactical Intelligence Unit Task Force Officer Mark McLeod, and the Austin Police Department Tactical Intelligence Unit Task Force Officer Jonathan Riley. Homeland Security Investigations Assistant Special Agent in Charge San Sato. Travis County District Attorney's Office, we have the Trial Division Intake Director Guillermo Gonzalez. Travis County District Attorney's Office First Assistant Trudy Strasburger, and Youth Justice Division Ricky Jones. This investigation was initiated This fugitive investigation was initiated by the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force in the Austin Division. This task force is comprised of 13 local, state, and federal authorities that include the Austin Police Department Tactical Intel Unit and Homeland Security Investigations that are here today. This task force was formally established in 2005, and the Austin Police Department Intel Tactical Intelligence Unit was our first partnership agency. This task force was formalized to assist our local, state, and federal partners in locating and apprehending violent criminals by sharing databases in real time to create an intelligence hub to extricate the worst of the worst criminals that wreak havoc in our communities by committing acts of violence that victimize members of our communities. This task force apprehends violent criminals on a daily basis here in Austin. And to give you an example, the Austin serial bomber in March of 2018 and the 6th Street shooting that took place here in the entertainment district last year in June of 21. Our Marshals Service sponsored task force would not be successful without our local, county, and state agencies that know their communities better than anyone else. The task force allows local crime to get federal attention, and Kaitlin Armstrong is our most recent example. This case was upgraded to major case status by the United States Marshal Service Headquarters, which involved many other specialized divisions, which could not be present today in attendance, but they include the Marshals Investigative Operations Division, Marshals Office of International Operations, Marshal Service Public Affairs Office, the United States Attorney's Office, the Department of State Diplomatic Security Services, and the Costa Rican foreign officials. On May 17th, a homicide warrant was issued for Kaitlin Armstrong. On May 18th, the Austin Police Department requested the assistance from the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force to locate and apprehend Kaitlin Armstrong, 34, who was a resident in Austin and was last known to reside in the 5300 block of Fort Clark Drive here in Austin. The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force learned during the investigation that Armstrong fled the Austin area on May 14th at approximately 12:30 p.m. when she boarded a flight from Austin Bergstrom International Airport to Hobby Airport in Houston, Texas, and then got a connecting flight to New York LaGuardia Airport. The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force contacted the United States Attorney's Office in the Western District of Texas, here in the Austin Division, to obtain a warrant on Armstrong for an unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, when it was evident on video surveillance and boarding passes that Armstrong had fled the Austin area, days after being interviewed by Austin authorities. Members of the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force followed up that investigation and contacted the U.S. Marshals New York, New Jersey Regional Fugitive Task Force and the U.S. Marshals in the Eastern District of Michigan to continue investigative efforts where interviews and surveillance were established. During an interview, it was learned through a confidential source that Armstrong was transported to the Newark International Airport in New Jersey, and at that time, the direction of travel was unknown. On June 6th, the U.S. Marshal Service announced the case to be upgraded to major status. This upgraded status comes with additional funding, additional manpower, and specialized skills from individuals that work in a program that was developed in 1985 by the U.S. Marshal Service to assist the U.S. Marshals' top 10 fugitives that list the most violent criminals that hide in the shadows for an extended period of time. The Marshal Service posted a cash reward listed at $5,000 for tips leading to the arrest of Armstrong, followed by a $1,000 cash reward posted by the Austin Area Capital Crime Stoppers. An anonymous donor contacted the Austin Area Crime Stoppers and provided an additional $15,000 with a combination of $21,000 for tips leading to the information of Kaitlin Armstrong. As the fugitive investigation continued, investigators with the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force learned that Armstrong sold her black Jeep Grand Cherokee to a CarMax in South Austin, where she received a check for $12,200. On June 30th, we, the Marshal Service, announced that Homeland Security investigations discovered that Armstrong boarded a United flight from Newark International Airport on May 18th and arrived in San Jose, Costa Rica at approximately 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Armstrong boarded the flight and fled to international territory by presenting a passport that did not belong to her, but belonged to someone that was closely associated with her. U.S. Marshals International Operations immediately communicated with the Department of State Diplomatic Security Services and continued investigative efforts where communication was established with foreign officials in Costa Rica in pursuit of Armstrong after using a fraudulent passport. The U.S. Marshal Service deployed 2 United States Marshals to the U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica to assist the Department of State and foreign officials with intelligence on the possible whereabouts of Kaitlin Armstrong. During the investigation in Costa Rica, it was learned that Armstrong traveled to multiple destinations to include San Jose, where she landed there at the airport, to Jaco Beach, and to Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. It was discovered Armstrong used different names, aliases, under the alias of Beth Martin, Liz, and Ari Martin, who she advised to uniformed officials at Don John's hostel in Costa Rica. Armstrong used these names at yoga studios and other lodging since her arrival in Costa Rica on May 18th. Officials involved in the investigation conducted old-fashioned law enforcement techniques, went door to door, conducted multiple interviews, going from yoga establishment to other yoga establishments, and also made contact with lodging venues that she had left behind, which then paved the way where Armstrong was detained by authorities at the Don John's hostel located in Santa Teresa Beach in Costa Rica. Armstrong was detained there in Costa Rica on the immigration violation for that fraudulent use of a passport. Armstrong was transported back to San Jose following a 6-hour drive from the hostel to San Jose, Costa Rica, where Armstrong eventually confessed to her true identity. Armstrong, according to foreign officials, Armstrong altered her physical appearance. She dyed her hair brown. She cropped her hair shorter to about shoulder length and had a bandage on her nose where she claimed it was from a surfboard incident just days before. The Department of State Diplomatic Security Services really contributed to the assistance of this apprehension. They are the long arm of the law, and they have the largest global reach of any U.S. federal agency, law enforcement agency, where they have 29 offices in U.S. cities and over 270 locations around the world. They are tasked with protecting the integrity of U.S. travel documents. The U.S. established diplomatic relations with Costa Rica in 1851. Armstrong was deported back to the U.S. by the United States Marshal Service, and on July 2nd, Armstrong arrived at the Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, where she was received by the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force in Houston, where she was transported and booked into the Harris County Jail. I want to make it known that it's important to understand the type of difference between a deportation and an extradition. A deportation is more of an administrative function, and an extradition is an agreement amongst 2 countries, usually under provisions of a treaty or a statute. I'd like to also bring up the significance of the investigators on this case that stand here before me that faced the challenge, wanted to be the difference, and became the difference when Kaitlin Armstrong was taken into custody by foreign officials in Costa Rica. We have 3 individuals here, that were the leads in this investigation. Those are Deputy United States Marshal Emir Perez, Task Force Officer Jonathan Riley, Task Force Officer Mark McLeod. These individuals, along with many other individuals in the Marshal Service when this was upgraded to a major case, forfeited their leave, their weekends, and their holidays to contribute to closing a 43-day investigation of Kaitlin Armstrong, who was a fugitive from justice, fled not only Austin, but the United States, and changed her physical appearance. Everything that the Marshal Service did in this particular case, and members of the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, when everything was upgraded to a major case, really streamlined all the information in order to communicate with foreign nationals. And like I explained to everyone in the past, it's really a speed pass like at a theme park where you jump the lines because you have something imminent and it needs to be taken care of. But we also want to remember the victim in this case and hope this is the beginning stage of closure for the Wilson family. I will now have the Austin Police Department Assistant Chief Investigations Bureau, Jerry Balzan, come forward for his statement.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jerry Balzan. I get to be one of the assistant chiefs with the Austin Police Department, and currently I oversee our Investigations Bureau. We stand here today proud of the work done alongside our partner agencies in bringing the Wilson family some closure and justice. Many of you here know about APD's outstanding homicide unit, as we boast one of the higher clearance rates in the country. But today I want to talk to you about our APD Tactical Intelligence Unit. It's comprised of 1 sergeant, 8 officers, and a detective who collectively have over 125 years of law enforcement experience. This is evidenced in the amazing work they do day in and day out. The primary mission of our Tactical Intelligence Unit is to assist our violent crimes investigators in locating, identifying, and arresting the most violent fugitives in Central Texas. Our Tactical Intelligence Unit is part of the United States Marshals Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, and we are so grateful for this partnership because they provide us additional local, state, and federal resources, including law enforcement personnel, equipment, funding, and most importantly, training. And this all supports our violent crime investigations here in Austin, Texas. Within hours of the murder of Anna Mariah Wilson on May 11th, 2022, our APD Tactical Intelligence Unit, as they do with every homicide here in Austin, began working closely with APD's homicide unit detectives to help identify the suspect in this case. This early collaboration allowed the APD Tactical Intelligence Unit to seamlessly transition from investigation support to fugitive apprehension under the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force. Throughout the fugitive investigation, APD Tactical Intelligence Unit personnel through the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force worked with the Travis County District Attorney's Office, the Travis County District Judges, to obtain legal process in direct support of the fugitive investigation. This investigative process and assistance from our federal partners led to the arrest of Kaitlin Armstrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. I will now have Homeland Security Investigations, a Special Assistant Agent in Charge, Stan Cito, for his statement.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Stan Cito with Homeland Security Investigations. I won't take a lot of your time. I just wanted to have a chance to speak and recognize the tenacity of the U.S. Marshal Service and its task force members in apprehending this international fugitive. Our agency's sole responsibility as a law enforcement partner is to combat transnational crime in the United States and abroad. So I was just very thankful that we had a few of our agents stationed abroad in Costa Rica to assist the Marshals' efforts to try to locate and run down leads in Costa Rica. I mean, this successful operation definitely sends a clear message to criminals that no matter where crime is committed, no matter where you flee, you're not beyond the reach of the law. We'll utilize every resource partnership to make sure that you come to justice. And I definitely want to recognize Amir, APD, and all task force members for their outstanding work. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I will have the United States Marshal Supervisory Deputy Chris Rhodes with his statement.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Rhodes, and I'm the Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal for the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, Austin Division. The Austin Division is comprised of 26 specially deputized task force officers and 5 Deputy U.S. Marshals. The 26 specially deputized task force officers come from 12 local, state, and federal agencies. This diverse group of officers gives us a significant advantage when it comes to locating and apprehending fugitives. Last fiscal year, the Austin Division closed approximately 650 local, state, and federal warrants by arrest. The Armstrong case highlights the effectiveness of local, state, federal, and international authorities working together to apprehend a violent fugitive. The task force officers and Deputy U.S. Marshals assigned to this case worked day and night until Armstrong was apprehended. We would like to thank all our domestic and international partners that assisted with this investigation. We could not have brought Armstrong to justice without their dedication and support. Thank you.
And just before I close here, I'd like to give a special thank you, especially through the course of this investigation with the help of the U.S. Marshals Public Affairs at headquarters in Washington, D.C. that really assisted us and assisted communication with you all that are here today, where we fielded over 222 email correspondence on media questions, conducted over 40 interviews on national TV, and that doesn't account for phone calls and text messages. But that information assisted us in developing over 80 tips nationwide. Some of those tips were more credible than others, but it did give us some type of traveling path on Kaitlin Armstrong. And we did have some tips that really helped us close in on Kaitlin that was really corroborated with the investigation findings that we already had. Also, I want to thank the U.S. courts as well as the clerk's office for allowing us to facilitate this great facility here for this press conference. And that will pretty much conclude our press conference. You know what? I'll leave it open for a little bit for questions. If anybody has any questions, I'll take a few.
Yeah, I have a question right here. You said that Armstrong used someone else's passport. Is that person facing any charges?
That's currently an active investigation right now. And we have forwarded that information to the United States Attorney's Office in Austin and also in New Jersey.
Can you please shed some light into some of the details as to how you found Kaitlin Armstrong, what cities in Costa Rica you were looking at, why yoga establishments? What were the key tips that came in? How did you procure them to find her?
Yeah, we developed that information through the course of the investigation by these 3 investigators that stand before us, which then we learned through HSI that she boarded that flight to Costa Rica. Based upon that, we know she was very into the yoga community. That was really her practice. And then when we were able to establish communication with the foreign nationals in Costa Rica, they too have contacts in their local communities and know the area much better than anyone else. And they were just doing old-fashioned police work where we concentrated, where she took a bus from the San Jose airport in Costa Rica to hours away. They knew the route of that bus, and so that's where they started boots on the ground. And I'm telling you, it was old-fashioned police work. They learned, that she signed. They showed a picture. They knew that she signed the books there under these aliases, and that really started the trail of narrowing down a path on Kaitlin Armstrong.
Do you have any reason to believe that she had plastic surgery to try to alter her appearance?
You've seen the pictures just like I have, but the receipt that we were able to obtain doesn't have her name on it, so I can't confirm that at this time. But I will say she had a bandage on her nose with a little bit of discoloration under her eyes. You know, her statement was that it came from a surfboard incident, and I think it's just, we'll leave it at that.
Did she ever get help in her escape route? Did she have any collaboration with friends or family?
You know, our primary goal was to get Kaitlin Armstrong into custody, and we did that in 43 days. We're not going to comment any further as far as if we believe, you know, she had any type of assistance. But we will eventually, you know, slowly look into that now that she's into custody, and we'll present those facts to the prosecutors in this case.
How was her attitude? Did she seem compassionate? Did she seem sorry? Or?
You know, speaking with the foreign nationals there in Costa Rica, I'd say she was exhausted. You could tell eventually, you know, when she was encountered by uniformed officers in Costa Rica, she didn't give her true identity at first. But when she was taken into custody in question, you know, minutes later, then she finally confessed to her true identity. So I think that was her beginning to come forward, but it took a little bit of time for her to reveal her true identity.
Do you know how many different yoga studios she visited?
You know, I don't know. I'd say it's more than a handful. She took a journey outside that airport. You know, she was gone since May 18th to June 29th. She frequented other hostels, other hotels, as well as other yoga studios. So she was really trying to, you know, build something to where she could instruct yoga there in Costa Rica. I don't know. I don't have that information.
In custody, she was being questioned, and she was released. Can you explain that clerical error? I believe it relates to a services charge expiration about Botox that was stolen, and that was not sufficient to keep her in question. How did that transpire?
You know, our unique position here with the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force is we're always here to assist our state, local partners with these types of investigations when there's already a warrant placed on that individual. So when we received the warrant from the Austin Police Department, you know, we didn't really know the true facts of the investigation leading up, you know, to the homicide charge, but we knew that we had a fugitive that fled the Austin area, and that was our priority. And that's exactly what we returned back here from Costa Rica, who's now in the Travis County Jail, awaiting further judicial proceedings. So, one more question.
How often do y'all have this outcome when you have a situation where someone is, you know, fleeing the country, they had a 5-day, you know, head start, as we talked about, how often do you actually capture the person?
Yeah, I think here in Marshal Service, we look at statistics, and from the Austin Police Department, those are cases that are here in the Austin Division as well as incoming from other states. So, you know, this isn't something that's very rare. No, you're looking at investigations from other agencies, homicide investigation, if you will, that takes some time. That takes time to process. It takes time to process because they're waiting on witnesses, they're waiting on video to come forward. So there's many times that we're days behind. But that is why we really have what I call a hybrid model, where we take these officers from these local, state, and federal entities, and we bring them over, we deputize them, and that allows them to really expand their horizon as far as be able to reach out to someone like Kaitlin Armstrong, and bring her right here into Travis County, where she's now behind bars facing justice. I'll close with that. One more.
What's that documents did you find over in Costa Rica there?
You know, those documents that found were pretty unique. At the time the foreign officials arrested or detained Kaitlin Armstrong, she pleaded that she didn't have a key to a lockbox where she had her belongings. And the owner at the time was not there to be able to unlock that lockbox, so she was taken into custody and transported away from the scene. It was later on where I believe a news affiliate got in contact with the owner of that hostel, and that's when he was able to voluntarily recover those documents of the passports, the receipt that was posted by a media outlet as far as plastic surgery, and all those documents were handed over to authorities and are now in evidence. So that'll conclude this press conference. I will be available for a few minutes for one-on-one interviews if you have them. And I'd like to also thank our guests for being here available with us today, that standing with us during the course of this 43-day investigation. Thank you all.